be talking investments. We're going to be talking value. Markets are crazy. Josh, you were going into something right before we went live here. Kick it off. Take us away, bro. Give us your take on what's happening.
Yeah, I think the markets are overreacting. The market we saw a little upswing from the 10% tariffs on every country, but then we got the breakdown on half of the reciprocal tariffs. So we saw a substantial amount in the European Union and Taiwan and other countries, but most of them they're already 10. The tariff is already 10%. So I think there's just leaves room for negotiation. I think starting tomorrow, we're going to hear countries um, lowering their tariffs on the U.S. or even um, getting rid of most of it, so we can bring our tariffs down. So I think it's just a negotiation tactic. I think we're going to hear from a lot of countries this week. We already heard from Canada today that they were going to get rid of their tariff on the U.S. if we get rid of ours. So yeah, I think this is just an overreaction. We're gonna see it plummet after hours. We've been seeing crazy moves, but
Yeah,
I think this is just
plummeting,
another buying opportunity in the market. I don't.
plummeting. I mean, let's just look at some of these tickers. Like I'm looking at S&P 500's down a little over 2.5. QQQ is down a little over three and right
Nvidia,
around 3.5. Apple's
Nvidia
down
just
six
hit
percent.
104.
What is? Let me look at Amazon. What's Amazon at right now? Crazy! Wow, 4.8% down. I will say Amazon is actually faring a little bit better than a lot of the other ones because it was up like 2%. So, but wow, messy, messy, messy. I will say, you guys, anyone who's been listening to these and well, we've only known one so far, but on these calls I've been kind of talking about how Apple's getting hit super hard. I've been saying they're overvalued for a long time. I've been selling. I probably sold like a third of my Apple position so far. Last 2 days was really serious for me in selling Apple, and buying like Amazon, Meta, and some other stuff. So it's not like I have the money sitting in cash or anything, but I actually took out Apple puts today, um, as like a hedge because I thought there was going to be like a potential big issue coming on Friday. I didn't think it was going to happen today, so I took them out expiring on the 11th, the 210 puts. So I'm actually curious to see what those are going to be priced at tomorrow. I kind of hope tomorrow morning Apple like takes another nosedive so I can sell those for probably like a 700-800% gain or something, and then literally just goes back up. So my shares aren't too badly affected, but we'll have to see what happens there.
Yeah, yeah. I think yeah, everything's taken a crazy nosedive, even crypto and everything. But um, besides that, I think we're gonna start hearing tomorrow, like as soon as tomorrow. I mean, I feel like there's a reason why these tariffs are gonna be starting on April 5th and not April 3rd, which is tomorrow, because I think in the next couple days we're gonna hear from other countries
Yeah.
that they're gonna lower their tariffs. That's my
Yeah,
personal
I
view.
think so too. I mean, you already saw countries like ahead of time saying, okay,
Yeah.
we're not going to have tariffs. Before this news even came out, they said, we're not going to have tariffs on the U.S. Now the U.S. is hitting them with tariffs. I mean, I'll just go through the list real quick. We have just a few countries: Brazil at 10%, Pakistan 30%, Sri Lanka 44, Switzerland 31, Cambodia 50%, the UK 10%, China 34, India 26, EU 20, and Israel 17. And then the minimum tariff on all imports is 10%. So this is a real like across the board move. And again, I think we talked about this. Is this 3D chess? Is this a master plan? I think there is something to it. Is it all working out the best way possible? I don't think so. I don't know. But I do think it's more likely than not that we will see a lot of these tariffs get reversed because at the end of the day, my perspective on international trade is we as the U.S. are obviously the biggest producer, biggest consumer for when it comes to just generalities. Definitely for when it comes to consumption across the board, and we just want to be treated fairly. We want the same. We want to be treated fairly by our trading partners. And if the tariffs and this pain and this stock market volatility is the path to get these countries to finally say, hey, we've been tariffing U.S. goods for 10, 20, 30% for many years, and they're finally doing the same to us, and they're going to adjust theirs, then I actually think it'll lead to potentially, I think this is the goal. I don't know if this will work out exactly this way, but potentially a stronger U.S. market and a more kind of U.S. dependent international. Well, not dependent, but I would say probably a slightly weaker international market. Although we do see the developed market index actually up very nicely after hours. Um, oh, never mind. It's fallen off a cliff too. It was about half an hour ago or 40 minutes ago. It was up 2.5%, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder why. And now they're down 1.5% almost. So I guess what I'm saying actually does make sense, because I don't see how it would strengthen developed markets, and I guess the market is realizing that as well.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I just think like even at if we're tariff 20%, we'll be at the minimum of 10%. So like I don't know, it just seems like a negotiation tactic. I'm kind of excited for this week, and like I said, this is a buying opportunity for big companies like Google, Amazon, Nvidia at these prices. It's pretty ridiculous. You really can't go wrong long term for these buying opportunities at Amazon in the 180s, Google in the 150s, Nvidia is at 104, 105 right now. So I mean, it's just ridiculous pricing. I think will
Yeah, I, I think there's some here's what I'll say. I don't think those are ridiculous. I think they're undervalued,
it's not
and a case can
ridiculous.
be
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
that's the wrong word. It is undervalued. It's not ridiculous. I mean,
yeah.
seeing
Like I think
Amazon at
Meta
like
is
150 will be like ridiculous, or like
I
140.
think yeah, like when you factor in everything, I would say Amazon is more undervalued than overvalued, Meta more undervalued than overvalued, Google more under than over, Nvidia more under than over, Apple probably still more over than under, and Microsoft is, I would say, probably fair,
Microsoft's
right in
fair.
the
Yeah.
middle. And it is interesting though. You actually don't see Microsoft going down that much. So what I'm literally about to do while we're on this call, or maybe right after, I'm gonna sell some Microsoft, and I'm gonna buy some more Meta and Amazon, because I think those took much much more significant dips, and I actually really prefer their growth prospects longer term. And I would love to have larger Meta and Amazon positions, and slightly smaller Microsoft positions. Um, relative to what I have right now. But Sam, yeah, let jump in, man. What are you thinking? What are you thinking about all of this?
I'm thinking that it might this probably gonna I mean this is probably gonna go on for a while. I mean, I don't know how quickly they're gonna resolve with the tariffs, and they know that it's hitting us hard right now. People are getting angry. Eventually Trump's approval rating, it is going down right now. It's going to continue going down because, a lot of people are pretty angry. The 401ks are getting hit hard, and a lot of people don't understand, the people who don't understand the macroeconomics of everything, they kind of just like looking at their account. It went from like, 200, $300,000 to like it's down like a quarter of that right now, or depending on where they had their money allocated. Um, so I think that it's a tough situation, but and like you said, in the long run, it's definitely you have to do it. It's like growing pains. Eventually, it's gonna catch up to us if we don't do it. So, and it's gonna be a lot worse than this temporary setback where, like you said, it's a good time to buy. I think Google's a good buy. I think there's a lot of really good buys. Things just getting hammered. I mean, just like
Do you think we're pretty screwed for like a good amount of time, like months to years, like
I think
going
it could. No, I don't
into
think it'll be
this
years. I think it
start of
could
a
be.
beer market? Or do you think this is like
No, I think it could be a couple months. I feel like it'll be a couple months, and I feel like right when people think, like right when people are ready to throw in the towel and say, the bear market started, is when they're gonna let the horses run again. So that's just usually how it does go. So it's really right now just about staying solvent. Just buying what you need to buy. And just not overthinking it because I mean, really nothing changed. We put on some tariffs and the whole market's reacting to. I mean, they're reacting. We have a pullback the same size as almost the same size as the COVID when the whole entire world shut down. So
Yeah, it's not,
Uh,
I would say it's not to that extent, and it's slower, and it's
it's
but
it's 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 slower,
they're
but
yeah.
it's definitely I mean, like look at these I mean, look just this month alone, Amazon.
I think
You
this
know,
is
we're
just
talking about
this. I think this was just an anticipated thing, and that's why we've been bleeding the last few weeks. And then now we actually heard it, and it's not better than we thought, but yeah, it's dipping now, and it's kind of just like a mini black swan with like even like the Ukraine Russia war, even with like the Israel stuff. Like, eh, I think personally, like next week, like it's a staircase back up. Obviously, we took
mm,
the elevator down, but even more.
Yeah, and with these kinds of conditions, I mean, we are there's extreme fear, and there has been extreme fear for a long time, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
And
that's
you
what I was
know,
gonna say.
I would say here we generally talk about things from a longer term perspective, right? So we can kind of you know zoom out a little bit because the day by day, you know, it's not as important if you're not actively trading. And the majority of what we're doing is kind of the long term, like value based investing. You know, we're in this for decades, and you know, hopefully longer if we can you know hold the shares and pass them down generation to generation. So, you know, when I think about it really long term, I think again, I think this is necessary, right? We cannot continue to have a country where the debt gets racked up and we don't have you know fair kind of trade agreements with people. And I think for too long things have been a little bit too lax, and there are going to be pains when you set the record straight. And again, I would like to think that the people kind of doing this and organizing this and orchestrating it are thinking about repercussions, right? I think it's silly to assume they're not. So yeah, I really think the best case is going to be. I honestly don't see like I don't really see a rip to the top. I don't really see a rip to the bottom. I can see a rip to the bottom if China invades Taiwan. All right, I can see an immediate that same day 10 to 15% drop, and then that next couple of weeks probably a 50% total drop. I could see that for sure,
Oh,
40 50%. It's a black swan. It's probably not going to happen. China doesn't want to do that. But again, if it does, you know, watch out for when it's not monsoon season over there. That's when they will be doing that attack. If the Ukraine war clears up, I think longer term and short term, we should see much better sentiment in the market because you know it kind of reestablishes the fact that hey, the U.S. is back and we're going to be like controlling things. And I do think that if peace is reached in Ukraine, I think it will bring a lot of other countries to the table, like the negotiating table when it comes to like tariffs and stuff, because now you know we've kind of like proven ourselves again as that mediating factor. So yeah, I think long term it's necessary. Again, markets kangarooing up and down, up and down. If you're trading, if you're capitalizing on the volatility, great. And that's not really what we're all about on this channel in this group. I think it's fine if you want to try it. But long term, I think you know I'm bullish on the U.S. economy, but you know we have to be cognizant of a couple things, right? The federal government is shrinking. That means less subscriptions to random stuff. That means less, you know, they're not going to be spending $1 million a month on K cups, right? That's, you know, so stuff like that's going to be going away. And that obviously hurts the bottom line of businesses because government's offering a really easy paycheck, right? Raytheon, you know, I'm probably going to sell my Raytheon because if I haven't already, I have to double check. I might have. Um, because Raytheon is just overcharging the government by 50x, right? And that's how they're making money. And as stuff like that gets cut, I think it's good that certain companies are going to be losing money, right? If you're gouging the U.S. taxpayer and the U.S. government, then you know so be it. So my main focus right now is finding really long term good companies that will withstand mass deportations, that will withstand huge government funding cuts and things like that.
yeah. Yeah, at the end of this call, I said last week that I was gonna go over a couple companies too, and we can go over, you know, the numbers and what I've look at what I'm looking at. But going back to the tariff thing, we have to remember too that's just one factor of what's going on with the economy and the whole country as a whole. We have to remember that there's other things like the Fed's going to come in and Jerome Powell. I think we have unemployment rate at the end of this week or something, and we'll see those numbers, and then we'll see if um, there's rumors of more rate cuts, more than two or three rate cuts this year. So, I mean, they're gonna come in and try to establish some things, and we'll see. I mean, hopefully, hoping for the best, but hopefully we don't bleed another another couple weeks or a couple months, if that. But again, I just see this as a buying opportunity, not going all in, but trickling some here and there for good buying ops. And if it goes lower, just buy more. I mean, on good companies, of course, not looking at anything super
Yeah,
risky.
yeah. And just a quick comment. I think it's really smart to still be very optimistic, very cautious, right? I think it's cool, good to be optimistic long term, but be very, very cautious right now. Like I think today before after hours, I probably wasn't sold more than I bought today. I was owning a small amount of FedEx. I just sold all of it at market, like, and I bought a couple of things I thought were better, mainly Amazon and Meta. But it was a net sell for me. So I'm still very like cautiously buying, because I know that there is no floor, right? We could go lower, and I would love to be able to get better prices. But if something is a good value, if something is a good price, I'm happy to buy it. I'm not too worried if it goes down. I'll just be in a position where I would like to make sure I have enough money to buy the dip, and buy it even if the dip keeps dipping.
Oh yeah, Sam, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like I usually am buying like bigger in the last few dips, but I don't know, this dip, it's just I'm trying to just be careful and
The dip keep dipping.
yeah, yeah, so I'm just trying to like, let out the clip just slowly, not rapid fire basically.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
That's
We'll see what happens tomorrow. I mean,
Yeah, tomorrow, I mean,
things
listen,
could
there's gonna be a whole lot of catalysts. Just be buying every single week. I mean, at the end of the day, um, it is what it is. It's like people get a little too wrapped up around, the price action, stuff like that. Like, you find the value of a company, you understand what you think the value is, and that's about it. Eventually,
yeah,
if you're right, it'll reflect that, and if you're wrong, you're wrong.
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think honestly that's it, right? Like Josh, we have this has been we haven't been going too long. If you want to go talk about a few of the companies you had wanted to bring up and like do a little bit of analysis on, go ahead.
yeah. I brought up MU and which might be affected by the Taiwan tariffs, but MU and what is it, Toast. So going over, I'll go over Toast first. So Toast being, I had my eye on it, 20 billion market cap, so very tiny, still a tiny company. The PE is, I was getting numbers around 1100, some crazy numbers, and the EPS zero point zero 0.03. They just became profitable sometime last year, about a year ago, and it seems like their profitability and revenue has been going up pretty nicely. But it's still kind of a risky company. Like I said, 20 billion market cap, so I give it around a C plus rating for an actual company to invest in right now. But um, obviously, this doesn't affect what after the market did the last hour or so. But this was earlier today. So I'll keep my eye on Toast, but not really not looking into getting in a starter position just yet. With MU, their revenue has been going up pretty nicely. So a year ago, May 2024, they reported 6 billion in revenue, and then now they're up to 7 billion. So up a billion in oh no, 8 billion, sorry. So over a billion in 1 year. Net income's going up very nicely as well. So their net income was around 300 million. Now it's around 1.5 billion. So, and their profit margin had increased from 4% to 20%. So they're
Yeah.
very, very, their company is looking very, very good with the EPS from, um, it's ranging around like 10 to like 9 to 10 EPS right now. So I give that a B plus to A minus range. I mean, I'll probably look to probably these prices now. I don't know what is MU right now.
Yeah, I can go look
I
it
think it's
up.
about $88 a share. It's went down a little bit. It's
So right
moving
now it's
nicely.
84, like $85 a share.
Uh,
So I mean, I'll probably I'll see what it does tomorrow, but I'll look to start something there, and then I added in Adobe because I remember you saying Adobe. I know a couple people have been talking about Adobe. Adobe has been looking tremendous, been looking really good with a P ratio around 25, market cap around 163 billion. So, pretty nice sized company around, same as like AMD being around like that market cap, 200 billion around there. With an EPS around 15. Their revenue has been increasing, slow and steady. So started around 5.3 billion, now at 5.7 billion for a whole year, and then their income a year ago was 1.57 billion. Now it's at 1.8. So their revenue has been increasing pretty nicely, and their profit margin has been staying around that 30% range too. So with an EPS from last year was 4.4, now it's 5. So yeah, they're like I said, their profit margin has been staying pretty steadily around the 30-31% range, and their revenue has been going up. So I give Adobe an A. I know you said you started a position around 380, I believe, right? So
Yeah, I mean, I had a little bit of Adobe shares, just a handful, and
yeah,
over the last like 5 days is when I started to add a little bit more.
yeah.
So my average price is probably like somewhere around 380 or something like that. I think
Yep.
at 350 it's like a really great buy. So I'm not buying too heavily because I do think we have room to go a little bit lower. I think at that point it'll probably be a really good
So
price.
that's what I
But
was gonna
anything under
say.
400, I think is probably so is more undervalued than overvalued for
So
sure.
that's what I was gonna say. I like looking at companies and their numbers and P ratio and the kind of numbers they're bringing in, but I also look at technicals as well. I kind of do like a little bit of both to see where a good time to buy as well as I think Adobe is undervalued. I think it's a good buy, but I see it on a technical perspective. I see it coming lower. It's kind of it broke a giant uptrend from you know it broke down around that 480s 490s, and it's been falling down. So I want to see it kind of have a good bottom, but we'll see what happens. And same with MU has kind of been MU's been kind of ranging. I think we're at a bottom there, but we'll see as well for technicals. But overall, I think Adobe it won't hurt to have a little starter position to
Yeah,
see what's been
yeah, it's
happening
not
with
bad.
see what happens with tariffs and
No,
all that.
no. It's not a bad one at at these prices.
Yeah.
Cool. Sam, anything you want to mention in particular in stocks?
I mean,
Anything?
I'm looking over. I'm like just looking at the aftermarket right now. I'm just looking like I'm probably as well gonna start adding to the Adobe position. I already have I've had I've had this position. I basically kind of like almost like full circled this Adobe position. Because I've had it for a while. I don't know exactly what I bought it. I'm actually gonna look that up right now. Um, but yeah, I'm probably gonna start adding to that a little bit because I mean, wasn't it just at like 600 or something? Like,
Yeah,
It
it's
was
been
pretty
falling
high.
for sure.
It was really
yeah,
overvalued. I mean, it was just
yeah,
like,
Yeah.
it's getting clapped up over there. So, um, but yeah, I'm definitely just gonna be adding to that, and also I'm just thinking that it's just insane with like I mean, even trying to play like options right now is just so tricky because like you really just have to. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
it's insane. I mean, look, you did it, but it could have just as easily, if you know
100%.
the first
100%.
30 minutes you were dead wrong, and then boom, that's how it
Yep.
goes. So
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking right now. Caution. The market is telling us caution. We're in extreme fear right now. It's at 17 out of 100, which
it's
is
at 17
like
right now. Wow.
it's this.
I
I'm
think the
telling you, it's
lowest
like
we saw. I think the lowest we saw the past couple weeks was 15, and then it was ranging around the low 20 for fear. 17 being, yeah, I mean 17's pretty low. I mean it's been pretty fearful the last few weeks. It's been kind of insane.
yeah.
Yeah.
But going back to Adobe, it is a good buy. I know you said you wanted to, Sam. You were going to start buying too. I want to see them pivot towards, some AI. I don't know if we heard anything from Adobe doing, implementing AI, but I know they have.
They, yeah, I mean, yes, yeah, they're definitely doing AI, but it's not to the scale of like it's tricky. They're obviously integrating AI into their product suites,
Yeah.
but a big risk for Adobe is, are people just going to use AI instead of using Adobe, right? Are they going to just like forfeit the design or forfeit the software and just use
Well,
other
that's
AI
that's
tools?
that's where they're gonna have to come in and create a better design than these other ones. But because while the other ones have to focus on 50 different things, 50 different language models, this, that, they could just be focusing on that niche and create something that's a user, that's easy, has a good user interface, and they'll be able to keep that niche, because that's what they're running on, like designers, and so they just have to kind of double down, and hopefully that's what they're doing
Yeah.
right now.
That's the only thing that kind of scares me is because there are so many platforms coming out. There's like, I feel like I see a new platform every single day now with AI being integrated and whatever it
Yeah,
may be. But that's
it
the only thing.
yeah.
But I know they
It's
have seven. I know they have 7 billion cash on hand right now. So maybe they acquire smaller companies. Maybe they use that for expansion. I don't know, but that is like one thing that is kind of tricky. Um, but yeah, other than that, I mean, the numbers look great. The company looks great. I mean, I just think I think if we come down to the low 300s or even like 350, I think that would be a kind of a no-brainer opportunity right there. But right now, it's kind of tricky.
I definitely agree, right, honestly.
Ben, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I think 350 is a great buy. I think 300 is kind of a, if it goes with 300 and things stay the same. I mean, I'm buying that thing up. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if they have like too many companies to talk about. I mean, mainly my buys have been mostly Amazon. Second has been Meta. Third has probably been AMD. Fourth has been, these are recent buys. Fourth has been
XYZ.
um, yeah, XYZ or PayPal. Like I'm not exactly sure which one I've been buying more of. Just depending on like I like XYZ below 55, right? I really like it there. I like PayPal below 65. So when they go below that range, we'll scoop up some.
Yeah,
Um,
PayPal
Adobe as
60,
well.
PayPal is
Yeah,
64 to 65. I've been accumulating as well
yeah,
as AMD
yeah. So
below
those are all I would say are under fair value. All things being correct, about the company and all the facts that we have. So that's kind of where I am. But yeah, very cautiously optimistic. I mean, I have shorts, right? I mean, I'm upset with my Carvana short a little bit because it rallied really, really hard, right? Carvana like took a
Well,
huge hit
it
in the mid.
rallied because it was getting free publicity. It got so much publicity because of Ashley St. Clair, because she made that whole video going after Elon Musk, saying that she has to sell her car, and she sold it to Carvana, bro.
I didn't even
Got
hear
like,
about that. I didn't know about that.
yeah, bro. She
I know about Ashley
Ashley.
Sinclair and Elon and the baby. I didn't know that she shouted out Carvana like that, bro. I
No,
don't like her.
no. She called in like a press
Money.
conference, almost called in the paparazzi, and like literally, like the car, like they showed the car going up
Ashley,
on the.
what you doing, Ashley? What you doing?
Bro, apparently she already got 2.5 million from Elon one-time payment, and
Oh
then
yeah.
$500,000 a month for the kid, and he put her in a $40,000 a month apartment in New York.
It's for the
Oh yeah,
kids.
oh
It's for the
yeah.
kids. Hey,
Oh
But
the
yeah.
kid has to
Living,
walk around.
living.
The
yeah,
kid, the baby.
I feel like we covered everything, right?
You don't want the baby to have a place to walk around. You sick.
What else are you guys looking at? I know Adobe's on the radar. I've been accumulating Nubank. Um,
Nubank. That's another one I've been accumulating. Under $10 recently has been a
yeah,
big
Nubank,
stream buy for me.
PayPal,
Yeah.
um, Palantir. I want to see that thing like at 50, 60s. I don't know if it'll get there because of all the
Watch your
hype.
mouth. I'm not buying any more Palantir until we get to like $20. So I
20
hope it never
bucks.
goes. Open until maybe I'll buy it sub 30, but I hope we never get there.
Well,
Never
yeah.
ever because I'm holding.
Well, I have some. I clipped 50 to 60% of my position from like 118 to 125. Um,
It's scary.
and I'll reaccumulate when I see it lower. But if it
Yeah.
rallies
No,
back
that
up
was a
to like
smart move. That was a very smart move. I mean, Palantir was insanely overvalued at that point. It still is overvalued. It's just that for me, like I trimmed under 15% of my total Palantir position, and I initially bought it at like under $10, right, like $9 or something. So, um, yeah, I mean, it's like one of those things, right? It's like you know it's overvalued, but the growth potential's there. Like with Apple and stuff,
Yeah.
like I'm happy selling because I know it's overvalued and the growth potential just really isn't there. It's already a $3.5 trillion company. With Palantir, this could be a $1 trillion company, which would be
Yeah.
a nice big multiple for me here. So
I think it
yeah, I
can.
just
I think it can get up there for sure. I just think, short to midterm, it is
yeah
overvalued. I see it going lower, and maybe I buy around 70s, hopefully, or 80s, whatever. We'll see.
yeah
But
yeah
I've started a HIMS position too. I've been accumulating that around 29 to
yeah
30. Um, I think that's also a good company to be accumulating here. But yeah, I mean, we'll see this week, man. I'm actually excited to see what happens. Like you said, we're a long-term investment group. We're not gonna be scared if it like goes down another 10%. That's just another buying
yeah.
opportunity. But like, we'll see what happens overall. I think some countries are gonna come in and be like, hey, let's lower the tariffs so we can help each other out, and we'll see what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, I think that's probably like it was gonna happen. Sam, I'm about to close it out. Let me know if you want to have any final words. We can keep this one nice and short.
Yeah, I'm good. 30 minutes. We're good.
All right, let's wrap it up, guys. It's been another episode that we went live the second time we are posting these to our YouTube channel. We're gonna be posting these on other platforms. We're gonna be posting these on X, on Instagram, TikTok, wherever. We're just kicking things off. We're testing things out, and really, the whole point of this is we're gonna have these discussions anyway. We wanted to invite you guys to listen in and eventually participate. And we're over here discussing investing, but there's a from our own perspectives, and everyone has their own, and people can be right in very different ways. So as we see the market get crazy and continue being like very kangaroo-y, just remember, stay cautious, stay solvent, stay liquid, and do not overextend and do not gamble, because those are the things that are going to kill you in this kind of market and in general. And you just want to make sure you are setting yourself up for a good financial future. That's it for me. We have Josh Rigo, we have Sam Berman here as well. Adios.
Sir.
Take it easy.
Yeah.
All right, we are no longer live.
Yo.